Don't blink, it's your blink. Welcome to our show. I'm just doing well because I'm having a wonderful day on this 20th May 2025. Today we're doing a review of season 3 of Trailer Park Boys. Shout out to my Canadian, shout out to my fellow Canadian, shout out to Barry Butter, one of my good friends, a sort of grandpa-ish figure, who's also a big fan of Trailer Park Boys. So shout out Barry Butters on YouTube. Today we're reviewing season 3. Now, as we usually do with Trailer Park Boys, I'm gonna give you my general, opinion about the series, the season. We're gonna go in and out, and it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. Season 3, however, I always remember it to be very good. However, to be completely honest, season 2 felt better. So now what exactly is going on is we're binge watching Trailer Park Boys. So usually what we do is we're doing a review per episode. Now we're doing a review per season. So there's a more global aspect of it. Season 3 had great moments, don't get me wrong. Season 2 and as a group, as a one unit, felt a lot better. And I think this is the part that I want to focus in. And now let's start with the first episode with Kiss of Freedom. So the boys, they go out of jail, they have a lot of cash. Right away you see this disparity of Julian wanting to invest it and Ricky wanting to spend it. Now, technically speaking, it's kind of crazy because even though it's a mockumentary, it makes sense. Ricky never had money, so when he has money, doesn't know what to do with it. And Julian, who usually doesn't like to invest, start to invest. Julian, who usually used to invest, he started to invest, which is basically people that are or use the money or not use the money. It's funny, actually. We're doing a review of chips. That was like, it's like I love the habits of eating chips, and there's all of them so salty. Kiss of Freedom. There's a lot of great moments in the Kiss of Freedom. The Kiss of Freedom is a great episode, but it's a bad episode. So the Kiss of Freedom is a great episode because there's so much being implemented. But it's a bad episode because this is an episode that you would put anywhere else in the season. Episode number 2, episode number 3, and it wouldn't work. So, for example, they come out, they have a lot of new things. I love that they have the Bubble go-kart. I love that Bubble has a new shed, because last season we have, and it's funny because to me this makes so much sense, but this makes so much sense as a veteran viewer. So y'all know what I'm trying to say. Surprisingly, I was looking at marketing stuff for the season, and they put Bubbles in the forefront of season 1 when it didn't have that much of a importance in the story. So I felt a bit weird, but hey. Now that being said, Bubble was more introduced as a character in season 2, which I love. Season 2, however, took a risky risk, which I also love. In the fact that this is really in debt. Wow, really in debt. So season 2, what they did with Bubbles was they said, okay, well, we want to have this 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 character, this third character, and the third character, there's always a different dynamic. With Julian and Ricky, gonna have polar opposites, right? With Bubbles, like, okay, well, Bubble sometimes is agreeing more with Ricky. There's a lot of moments in season 2 where Bubble is applauding what Ricky does, the road Ricky takes. However, when they're talking, you can see that he's more agreeing with Julian. That's why the season 3 is so complex. Season 2 as a whole felt so fucking great. But season 3 has some golden nuggets in there. Like a Kiss of Freedom, they're giving Bubble his own shed because they built it last season. So there's a continuity here, but there's also like, yo, this is how important he is to us. Ricky buys a fucking go-kart for Bubbles. And that's a crazy thing. In a fucked up sense, Ricky lives in his car. So he gave a mode of transportation to Bubbles. Julian lives in a trailer. He gave a house to Bubbles, but they both gave their version of a house. You know what I mean? So Kiss of Freedom, The really good thing about the Kiss of Freedom is, again, is Ricky is treating the park, and you can see the park is so not. It's so used to Ricky and Julian that when they fight, there's nobody that really talks about it. Julian's trying to. I have to applaud that. Julian invested, but he invested in the park. So, for example, he gives ice cream bicycle to Corey and Trevor. He also gives the cash flow to start a hair salon for Lucy and Sarah. So they invest in the trailer park boy in the trailer park. I gotta say, I'm gonna be annoying. I'm gonna be super annoying, but holy shit. This is why I love Trailer Park Boy. We made a 30 minutes video last week. This is why. Trailer Park Boy gets better the more time you view it. I'm a veteran viewer. I've watched the series over 10 plus times. And the perception that I have, and again, I have to mention that before we did review Trailer Park Boys, but we reviewed it when we were not used to reviewing shit. You know what I mean? So special but not special. That's a problem. Kiss of Freedom, my MVP moment. I feel like my MVP moment has to be, oh, I fucking hate Kiss of Freedom because it is one of those episodes that ages so badly. For example, there's a moment where for a minute and a half, Ricky was saying drunk as fuck. So the first time you watch it, it's funny. The second time you watch it, it's annoying. There's so many good moments. For example, he's supposed to give the money to Leahy, and it's funny because Leahy says, "I want a collateral," and he said, "I'll kiss your ass." And the kissing the ass isn't a good moment, but it's the perception that you have. Ricky hates it, and Leahy is like, "Yo, I relish in it." And Leahy, for a very weird sense of point, is an authoritative figure for the boys, kind of like a uncle that you don't like. And it's same as Ray. Both Ray and Leahy knew that Ricky was gonna fuck up. Ray chose to support his son. Leahy chose to push his son, to push Ricky, and to being like, "Yo, you fucked up, wake up," right? What I love is at the end, it sucks because Trinity is like, "Yo, you're a dummy. Why did you always go to jail?" And then Ricky feels bad about that, so he buys her encyclopedia. And then he has the money to buy either encyclopedia or a trailer, and he chooses encyclopedia, which makes him a great father. Long story short, it makes him a great father. There's a ton of they're both acting like dicks. They're both acting different because of money. Now, in most cases, Ricky, in most cases, Ricky starts the problem. But I want to take the defense of Ricky because I understand why Ricky is acting the way he is. There's like this, okay, so we'll put it in the most simple way possible. And let's hope that it makes sense. It possibly won't, but who gives a shit? Ricky is the classic lottery winner. So, for example, you watch the news and they say, "Hey, this person won the lottery," and you know that this person lives in your neighborhood. You don't expect them. You don't expect them to give money back to the neighborhood, but when they do, you're like, okay, well, I know he won some money. That's the right thing to do. Versus somebody that cannot help. They don't have the possibility or the capacity to help, and you're telling them, "Why the fuck aren't you helping?" Because I can't. Versus, "Why the fuck aren't you helping when you can?" You know. So really, really appreciate that. And Ricky has a right to be mad. He has a right to be mad in the sense of, my apologies. Give me a sec, because I need my notes. It's not really notes. It's so fucking funny. I'll show what I'm using. So with this, we have the season, the episode, and I just need the name. By having the name, I can, with having the name, I can do it. So for example, right, never trust a man with no shirt off, which was in season 2 last week. I forgot to add something. I forgot to add that this was the first episode where we see Officer George Green. But I know by heart. So Kiss of Freedom, great episode. H. Poorly is annoying the second time you watch it, the third time you watch it. Unwatchable the 10th time. However, it is picture perfect season number 3. Because it's the picture perfect of everything that's wrong with season 3. but also everything that's right with season three. Okay, I'm trying to get. I like watching something in the background, and right now we're looking for it. The truth. I found you. There's ads that are lasting so long. Okay, episode number two. Episode number two is what? Fuck. Assistant, Trailer Park Supervisor Assistant, which I personally want to take it as a in to Dwight, who's the assistant to the assistant manager. One of the best episodes ever made. One of my favorite. And again, when I say that season three feels a little bit worse than season two, but has some great moments, I'm talking about episode number two. So, the way they're putting it, is so beautiful. The writing for this season has really, really, really improved. These are the episode with Kitty, Bubbles, who lost his kitty. Now, technically speaking, you would have a character that you, and this is why the writing is so good. You would have a character that you don't know, and it would be less. You would have Philadelphia Collins that we saw a couple of times, but it wouldn't matter. You would have Ricky, who doesn't like Leahy, and you would see like, oh, it's Ricky trying to give some trouble to Leahy. You would have Julian, and you would say, well, Julian take care of himself. What's going on? But Bubbles is crazy good. He lost his kitty in the gutter, Mr. Malstein, which is a great name. And he complained, and then because he complained, Barbara, which is the ex-wife of Leahy, but also the Trailer Park Boy owner, the Trailer Park owner, she gives shit to Randy, and Randy says frig off. And this is one of the best thing about Randy. This is why I love Randy. So Randy is saying frig off when Ricky and Julian constantly say fuck you, fuck off, dickwad, dickweed, Sam Squanch. When they constantly insulting. See, Randy frig off might be more polite, but it's still fuck you. It's still fuck you. Go fuck off, right? Is the intent behind it. So then you're looking for a Trailer Park Boy, a Trailer Park Supervisor Assistant. They do a test. Ricky ends up being the winner, and it's kind of cool because Ricky is open-minded, and this is what's great about Ricky. Ricky will go above and beyond to be a good father. In the first episode, we see Ricky having to kiss Leahy ass. In all the ways that he does it because he sacrificed everything for his daughter. So him not liking Leahy and willing to work with Leahy is beautiful. What I really, 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 really like about the episode number two is the exam for the Trailer Park assistant. Why? Because you're choosing characters you already have. So there's Jacob, which is not a big part of the Trailer Park Boys yet, but it will become. And their season and will become a integral part of the show around season 8, season 9. Jacob, you have Trevor and Corey, you have Bubs, and you have Ricky. And there's a hierarchy because Jacob, nobody gives a shit about Jacob. Then it's Trevor and Corey. Trevor gets kicked out, so Corey leaves. Then it's Bubble, and that's Ricky. You see the importance of characters. And then Ricky goes in, and Ricky is like, yo, I'll do the job. And season 3, episode number 2, which is insane because season 3 is where we start to see how fucked Leahy is. We knew before he was kind of fucked, but we didn't know that bad. Leahy started really being fuckhard and being a drunk bastard, as Bubba would say. So in season 3, we're seeing Leahy establish himself as the antagonist. And the reason why it's good is because in season 2, yes, Leahy's an asshole, but Leahy is doing everything he's doing to protect the trailer park. And season 3, it feels like a vendetta. Ink vendetta. You know what I mean? So episode number 3, season 2. Season 3, episode number 2, there's a great moment with picture perfect the mentality of Trailer Park Boys. And that's Leahy that says, it is folly to be wise, ignorance is bliss when it is folly to be wise. That's actually pretty good psychological stuff, which kind of established Leahy as a dude that knows his shit. And established Leahy as a guy who kind of have some brains, right? Which is always cool. The episode is amazing. It's basically Leahy teaming up with Ricky, and Ricky having to protect Julian because Julian has some vodka that is bootleg. What is cool is when you ask where the vodka came from, it's J-Rock and his porn connection from Russia, which, if you guys remember the season 1, we have from Russia with the Love Bone. So he does have some Russian connection, which is why he gets the vodka cheap. So then, also, it's a really cool episode because this episode in itself is a masterpiece. It shows the mentality of Trailer Park Boys. For example, when Trevor and Corey they sell the vodka, Julian said, "Hey, this is your front." He tells them all of what he's getting, a balance, make sure that it's short, to loan, to pay back. You say, "Okay, well, I'll front you the money to buy it, but you have to reimburse me." And it's really cool because if you're a businessman, you understand all those terms. If you don't, if you're not a businessman, you probably won't understand. So it does show, once again, Leahy, with the way he's talking, he's showing that he's smart. Julian, by the way he's talking, should that he's smart, right? There's also the fact that they're emptying the pond and they're finding bikes. And once again, it's like Ricky's like, "Yo, there's a lot of bikes that I sold for Trinity. There's a lot of good memories in here," which is really fucking cool. And yeah, I absolutely love this episode. My favorite part, my MVP moment, is simply, I fucking love this. I fucking love this. Ricky takes off his shirt because he has poison ivy, and then Bubble, and he's kind of close to Leahy, and then Bubble's like, "We can trust Ricky, can we?" And then Julian says, "Never trust a man with no shirt off," which is a reference to Randy from season 2. I fucking love this. Episode number 3. If I don't have the right to smoke, I'm fucked. So this is such an important episode, but this is the mentality of Trailer Park Boys. This is the beauty of Trailer Park Boys. It's not about the plot, it's about what's going on. So, for example, one of the first scene that we see is Julian lost all his money in the vodka. So you see the first part of the episode is showing that he doesn't have any alcohol. Now, Julian is an alcoholic. So not having alcohol is for him sign of, okay, well, shit's about to hit the fan. The introduction of the cruise, which is a motivation, which established once again Julian as kind of the boss. "I'll take care of you guys, we'll have a cruise." It's really smart because it gives motivation. And then even Bubbles, it's such a good episode because even Bubbles will help Ricky and Julian because he loves them, but he won't help them because he wants to help. So then when you talk about the cruise, Bubble is interested, right? And he's like, "I cannot let the boys down." So what they do is, Julian doesn't have money, he doesn't know what to do. And then it's Ricky that has the ID. And you see this happening a lot. So, for example, we just saw the movie, Trailer Park Boy, the movie. The Big Dirty, it was Ricky's ID. Julian took it. So Julian, because he's able to utilize the ID better than Ricky, he'll come up with a longer plan. And I love this team because Ricky is impulsive. I'll find the ID. Just like, okay, well, you know what? This is actually pretty smart. Diesel propane. Again, you got the best moment, which is Trevor and Corey stealing gas, and then Trevor fucking goes into a football mode and avoids some guard. I was like, holy shit, you go. And we also see Trinity and how hard it is to be a father. At first, didn't understand how hard it is to be a father. At first, I didn't understand why they put it, but it makes sense. Trinity being such a fuck up of a daughter, and I love Trin. One of my favorite characters. But it's a direct result of Ricky being in jail, you know? And it's a perfect result of life in general. For example, we did a video yesterday saying, "I love that we're making that much content, but I'm a bit depressed." And the amount of work we do doesn't make any difference if we spend weeks being depressed and not doing anything. So Ricky it doesn't matter how good he is as a dad, as long as he doesn't take care of Trinity, right? But he doesn't take care of Trinity because he believes in Lucy and he wants to get money, right? So it's like, I'll take care of everything, just be a good mom. Because Lucy, you see her with the salon, but she really doesn't do much. I love that everybody comes to Julian, but there's an evolution in characters, and at time, the trailer park itself becomes the characters. So for example, we got season 1, when everybody's like, "Julian, help me, Julian, help me, Julian, help me." Now we have Julian, "I have this business ID, I'll help you out." And that I love, because again, Julian isn't the end-all be-all of trailer park, and he shouldn't be. So like, "Yo, we'll do a code, how much we trust him, and how much he can sell them." So they go to a veto, which is basically, it's like a bouncer saying, "Hey, are you cool or not?" So they do that. The best part about it is there's a ticket, and they're saying, well, perm is $40. You're allowed to get to $40 of stolen gas. The favorite part about that is you see the ticket, right? And then Leahy's like they're operating a prostitution ring, which would be a really good business, right? And it's funny because season 4, they open up a Rub Rub Tiggy Zug, which is basically a prostitution ring. So Leahy, it's also cool because it does. Listen, I'm not a criminal, but it does showcase how Leahy to the boys. In my opinion, a stealing gas is less of crime than selling actual human beings. So then they go to see Sarah and Lucy, and they take off their pants and like, the fuck are you doing? Keep your pants on. And then they get a perm. So I really like that. Yeah. So at the end, they named Corey and Trevor, and then Corey and Trevor get into. That's not the most interesting stuff because it would be the most interesting stuff. But they do it so often that it becomes uninteresting. Blaming Corey and Trevor. However, there's a really, really golden nuggets. The process, not interesting. Also, the process why it's not interesting is Ricky saying basically, oh, well, if I can't swear, I'm fucked. I need to be able to swear to express myself. So this would be cool if you didn't do it in the movie, and the movie they do it the same. Copying or redoing something. Which wouldn't be cool if we haven't already established that Ricky is a master bullshitter. He bullshit the police into getting out of tickets. So it's not a skill that he learned, it's a skill that he has. And then it lessened the whole thing. You understand? Cool. Next on the list we have why is it so cool? Because they're interviewing, for example, J-Rock, and they're saying and he does a little rap, which is, if I remember correctly, is I spend more rhyme than a lazy Susan, and I'm innocent until my guilt is proven. Peace represents Sunnyvale. Shut the fuck up. And I love that because this is how badass the trailer park is. We got Ricky and Julian that are coming in front of the camera, and there's a beauty in there because back in the days, mockumentary wasn't really popular. You had The Office and Trailer Park Boys, then you had Park and Rec, and then you had Brooklyn Nine-Nine, which are great shows. Nine-Nine. And then it's kind of funny because we know they're guilty, but it's kind of funny because we're basically filming the life of these people pretending it's a documentary, and we're filming them being filmed and interviewed. And you would think Inception, but it's more simple than that. So I really enjoy that. Number 4, Who's a Microphone Assassin? Who's a Microphone Assassin is one of my favorite episodes. Okay, season 3 is awesome. I'm sorry. With Microphone Assassin, which is really good, is basically we're getting more of J-Rock. Now, the crazy thing about this episode is we're 3 seasons in. Now, by the way, 3 season episode number 4 is next to the halfway of the show. Since season 1, we established J-Rock being very important. You could talk about how From Russia with the Love Bone is a J-Rock episode. I wouldn't agree. I would say it's more so a Ricky episode because he needs the cash to save his family. This is the first episode where we really see J-Rock. It starts with a video clip. It starts with that. Then the flea market. The flea market is once again such an important part because it's the park coming together for an occasion. And then they're selling tickets, and then they're doing a show. So the show is also cool. Now J-Rock says, okay, well, I'll promote my music. Now I'll use other people, right? And technically, yes, it sucks. Technically, it's illegal. But think about this. A baby content creator who's reacting to much more popular content creator because he needs to get attention. That's what he did, right? So you understand why J-Rock did it. Then we got Velvet Smooth, which is kind of a complex character because we established him in season 3 as a big ass rapper, this very famous rapper. But then in season 4, he becomes part of the park, which is a bit odd. We got Jamie, who believes he's black, J-Rock, and this is a part of the show. It's actually really funny because that's the way it is. And J-Rock believing he's black is a B-grade plot at best. It's okay, it's cool, it's funny. Let's move on. What really is cool, and again, this is the mentality of why Trailer Park Boy is so popular, is how does other character react to him being black? For example, it says, Velvet Smooth asks J-Rock, are you black? And then J-Rock is like, yeah. And then everybody's like, even as a watcher, you're like, what the fuck, dude? But then you see Sarah and Lucy come in and do like an interview, and there's like, yeah, you really believe that he's black, right? And it kind of adds a character because okay, these are characters, but they're building it up, which I love. My MVP moment isn't J Rock. My MVP moment isn't Julian. My MVP moment isn't Ricky. My MVP moment is Bubble rapping, and what I love is because J Rock he gets bullied off stage by Velvet, and then Julian's like, "Yo, Bubble, I need you to rap." And Bubble, why it's so funny that he's rapping, is because Bubble's a musician, so him doing that is kind of it's kind of funny. But what is even funnier is that when he is rapping, people love Bubble in the park. Once again, you know what I'm talking about? Sarah and no, I'm saying Sarah and Lucy defending J Rock on his belief of being black. Well, people like Bubbles, and right away they're like, "Go Bubbles, go Bubbles," and it's such a great time. I'm gonna give an example of another crazy cool moment, and it's J Rock getting caught masturbating, right? And it's supposed to be super funny, and it would be my if it was made to be humiliating, it would be my MVP moment. Not because I don't like J Rock, although later season J Rock is a fucking joke. I do like J Rock, but it's more so my favorite moment because the boys are like, "Yo, it's cool. I jerk off too." There's no shame in there, and it should be a moment where we make you embarrassed, but it's a moment actually where we're bonding over something that happens, right? And another point, very very simple, very very simple. Um, they go in, right? Sorry, I'm looking for a song so I can get more focus, which doesn't make sense, I know, but still. Um, you go in and they go to see Bubble. They go to see J Rock, and then J Rock's mom says to Bubble, "What's a pancake?" Because she knows he likes pancakes. Why is it important? Because you're technically establishing an existing relationship between two characters that otherwise don't have a relationship. That's why it's important. Okay, cool. That's established. That is established. Season 4, season 3, episode 5. You know what's crazy? I don't even need to know. I don't even need to know what's the name of the episode because this is one of my favorite episodes. Closer to the Art is the very first episode I saw of Trailer Park Boys. It is the very first episode I saw of Trailer Park Boys. It is why Trailer Park Boys works so well and why it works so. It doesn't work. So, you know, I watched this episode and I didn't know who those character was. I didn't speak English. They kidnap Alex Lifeson, which is from the group Rush. I didn't know who Rush was. But it was the first episode, and at first, it's not about the concert, it's not about music, it's about the boys being together, and it was really sweet. So, Bubble comes in and say, "Hey, Ricky, Julian, please buy me a ticket. I need to see Rush, my favorite band." And he says, "This is all the money I have in the world," so it implies that it's really important for him. So I really, really like that. I really like the fact that we're establishing with those simple words, those simple plot, we establish that this show means something to Bubbles. Then he wants to sell dope. It's a good opportunity to make money because again, it's about the money. But then it's so fucking funny because it's about the music for Bubbles and it should be about music for everybody else. What I love is we established that Leahy and Randy hates Ricky and Julian, but we establish once again because the park is disgusting and there's filth everywhere, so they blame Ricky and Julian because there's filth everywhere. Barbara says, "Don't take care of this weekend. No camping trip for you." So okay, you ruin your camping trip, we'll ruin your concert. So then becomes a battle of Leahy buying every single ticket, which is a dick move. It becomes the battle of Randy becoming the assistant of Alex Lifeson from the Groove Brush, which was supposed to be Bubbles because Bubble had the answer. So they're calling it a radio. And again, you're doing something so good because the radio that they call is Steve Roger, which is the celebrity and Trailer Park Boys in the lore. He's the biggest celebrity. Yeah, we're watching. It's kind of funny. You see. So with that being said, it's just a great episode. You see Randy, who takes the place of Bubble. You see Leahy, who buys the tickets, and it means something to Bubble. And it's like, I never asked you for one thing. I'm always helping you. I asked you for one thing, and you fucked it up. And it's also about them not treating Bubble right, because in the second season, we had them burning the shed, and they sometimes forget that Bubble is a bit more sensitive. Bubble is a bit more childlike than them. Not really, but still. And at the end, there's some crazy moments with Ricky kidnapping someone, calling them a male prostitute, and Bubble say, yeah. I heard him call a lot of people male prostitutes. He uses that a lot. So that was actually really funny. I actually really enjoyed that because, once again, you're establishing that this happened before. You don't need to show that it happened. You can imply that it happened, and people will believe it. Because people will believe it's more funny. The kidnapping Julian Fix situation, at the end there's a really touching moment where Bubble help on the scene. And of course it's not, but it's supposed to be super emotional. Because you see that Bubble is it's a bit weird. And they give the guitar to Alex, and Alex like, yo, thank you, Bubbles. And at the end they have this really cool moment where he shows them close to the art. Alex Lyson showed him close to the art from a limousine. There's a lot of information about this episode. Alex Lifeson approached the Trailer Park Boys because he was like, yo, finally a show that's Canadian that I can get behind. I can be proud to call one of my shows because I'm Canadian too. And he approaches them, and that was the first celebrity that came with the Trailer Park Boys. He's like, I fucking love your show. I love your show. That was really cool. That was really nice. Now we don't have enough battery, so I'm gonna have to leave, which sucks, but yeah, I'm not gonna have time to do it. Fuck. I don't like... Yeah. Anyway, we'll come back after in about an hour. Ugh.